Mom crosses her legs like she's settled to stay. I slump on the couch beside her and check if anyone looks like they'll mind if Mom reads aloud to me. I haven't been to the clinic since my last school vacation, but I recognize the waiting room people because their appointments are nearly the same time as David's every week. Mrs. Frost, a tiny old lady, reads a magazine in a big chair between the front windows. Mrs. Frost brings her even older brother for speech therapy because he had a stroke. The receptionist, with her blonde beauty parlor hair, types fast on her computer. Carol, a young mother wearing a big skirt and hoop earrings, sits in the rocking chair near the bookshelf. She leans down, handing her baby with Down syndrome chunky plastic blocks from the toy basket. In the chair next to the exit, Mrs. Morehouse, Jason's mother, is checking her watch. And then there's Jason. I'm not sure how old Jason is, maybe 14 or 15, but even though he's almost grown, his mother stays with him in the waiting room. Jason can't go anywhere unless someone pushes him in his wheelchair. I open my backpack, and Mom cleans her glasses at the bottom edge of her skirt. When I was 7, Mom began reading the Harry Potter series to me. And even though I can't read it easily to myself now, even though I can read it easily to myself now, we still read each new book together. I never think of the characters without hearing her voices. I pass her the book. Read quiet? She turns to our chapter, and I arrange my colored pencils on the couch next to me. Hunting out the window for something to draw, I consider the line of stores and restaurants across the street. But they look tired and in between. In a week or two, the gift shop window will have splashy beach towels and plastic sand buckets. The hotel will show a no lit up with vacancy. And the parking lot will be full of seagulls strutting between cars and perched on streetlights, screeching for someone to drop a bite of sandwich or a French fry. I wish time would hurry and there'd be sailboats tying up at the landing and tour buses passing through. And I'd already have the first hellos traded with the somebody Peterson next door. So now we know the next door neighbor's name is Peterson. I figured by 5:15, the first high trading could be over, especially if I happened to be outside at 5 o'clock when she finally arrives. I sink back into the vinyl couch cushions. My sketchbook is propped against my knees, listening to Mom's voice changing character to character. There's not much new to draw in the waiting room. The same yellowed awards clustered on the wall, the same books spilling off the shelf. The same old toys are heaped in the toy basket. And there are only 2 people that I haven't already drawn, Jason and his mother. I worry that glancing will turn into staring too easy with Jason, and I hate it when people stare at David. But Jason's mother fidgets. She crosses her legs, she picks up her magazines, then she puts them back down again. She smooths out her short, flipped under brown hair, so she'd be harder to draw. Mom said Jason started coming to the clinic after Christmas, but the first time I saw him was February vacation. That day, I didn't know where to look, so I looked at his feet on his wheelchair footrests. Maybe by drawing Jason, I could look at him easier. Looking closer can make something beautiful. Sometimes I change how I feel about something by drawing it. Drawing makes me find the curves, the shadows, the ins, the outs, and the beautiful parts. I solved my hating snakes by drawing their scales, tiny and silvery, overlapping and overlapping, until all I saw was how perfect they actually were. I can't say that I'd want a snake crawling across me, but I don't have to go screaming to Dad every time that I see a garden snake now. Should I go on? Mom asks. I could stop here. No, keep reading, I ask. I turn to a clean page in my sketchbook and swoop a faint pencil line, beginning the outline of Jason's head. Over the top, down his temple and cheek, around the bumps of his jaw and chin, back to where my line began. I don't know what's wrong with Jason, and it doesn't seem polite to ask. Whatever it is, though, it's something big. There's a tray on Jason's wheelchair, and on the tray is a communication book. At first, Jason's book seems like a big blue photograph album, but inside, it's full of word cards, not photographs. Jason can't speak, but he turns the pages and touches the cards to tell his mother if he wants a drink or if he has to use the bathroom, or even if he's mad about something. Today, he's mad. He's fighting mad. Jason slides his hands across his book, jabbing at his cards. His fingers are curled claw-like, and his knuckle raps one word after the other. Yes, I know they had a guitar, Mrs. Morehouse says, fiddling with her earring. But I told you, we didn't have time to stop. If I had stopped, you would have been late for speech. Jason stabs his book. I hope he has a "so what" or a "whatever" card. His hands twitch and make rumbling throat sounds, close near to growling. Mom shuts our book. Jason's jaw is a little crooked. It's not as perfect as the jaw I drew. But if I had drawn Jason's jaw how it really was, it might look like I made a mistake. Reddish-brown waves of hair sweep over Jason's brow. After a few wayward strands dangle near his eyes. Hair is my favorite thing to draw, but I only rough it in. Otherwise, I might not have time to finish before Jason's speech therapist comes out to get him. What? Jason's mother asks. I'll draw his eyes downcast, looking at his book. That way they'll mostly be lids, and it won't matter that I don't know what color they are. Girl, don't what? What girl? Everything in the room falls quiet. I glance up. Mrs. Morehouse is staring at me. Are you drawing my son? My pencil freezes mid-stroke. Just because he can't talk, she says, don't assume that he doesn't mind. Everyone is looking at me. My fingers move over my sketchbook to find the corner. I'm sorry, I whisper, turning the page. It takes all my strength, every single ounce, not to cry. A drink? I hear Mrs. Morehouse say. All right, wait here. Mom reaches over, but I scoot down on the couch, out of reach. I pick up a lime-colored pencil and swish a tiny blade of grass on my page. One eyelash curve of green, cutting all that white. Footsteps pass me, but I don't look up. I tick line after line, making grass. Oops, Miss Morehouse says. It's only a little spill. I risk a peek. If that were David, he'd be wild to get those clothes off. But Jason just sits there, a dark water stain spread across the front of his Red Sox shirt. Maybe he doesn't mind, or maybe he knows that there isn't another shirt, or maybe he's used to being wet. David wouldn't care about any of those things. That shirt would be off faster than you can blink. Pants, too. If Something had spilled there and I didn't remind him quick enough. Keep your pants on. Unless Mom, Dad, or the doctor tells you to take them off. Mom opens our book again. Let's see, where were we? Harry was about to use his cloak. That's right. As she reads, I think about how useful a cloak that made me invisible would be right now. If I had one, I'd throw it over my head and run out the door and across the parking lot and the street, all the way through the waterfront park to the wharf. And I would board the first boat that I saw going somewhere, anywhere but here. Mom reads, the receptionist types at her computer, and Mrs. Frost looks at a magazine. The baby is sleeping on Carol's lap. His little fingers are still clutching the pink plastic block. Hi, Jason! Jason's smiling speech therapist finally comes out to get him. I'm relieved to see her, even though Mom stops reading when she comes. How's his day been going? The therapist asks his mother. He wanted to stop at a yard sale, Mrs. Morehouse says, so he is quite upset. Oh, the therapist turns to Jason. You wanted, hands pointing and pulling, to stop. One hand, karate chopping the other. At yard sale? Jason scowls. His therapist pouts, her finger tapping his communication book. Sad. I swallow a giggle. Sad? Is she kidding? If I were Jason, I'd want cards that said, get out of my face, and go away, and this stinks the big one. The therapist pushes Jason's wheelchair down the corridor, and Mrs. Morehouse picks up her purse. I have a couple of errands, she tells the receptionist. I'll be right back. The bell above the clinic door jangles, and she leaves through the window. I watch her across the parking lot to the van. What do you think Jason would do with a guitar? I asked Mom. I don't know, she says. Maybe just having one would be enough. Watching the van's red taillights, I wonder, enough for what? But as the van pulls away, I close my eyes and I make a wish. Please go back and buy that guitar, just in case Mom's right. I didn't mean to hurt Jason's feelings by sketching. You could tell him that, Mom says. I cringe. But he can't answer me. Maybe he'll point to an answer in his book, or maybe he'll answer in his head. Mom returns to reading, and I draw the front of a gray shingled house, porch steps, and a front door with a doorbell. I reach for a blue sky pencil and pick up a midnight black instead. I hear a faraway David shriek, and Mom stops reading to watch the corridor. But then it's quiet. And I figure David gave in and did whatever it was that Stephanie wanted. My drawing takes shape under my hand. Lemon for the stars, cream for the moon, pine for the trees along the fence, charcoal gray for the darkened windows, all but one. The clinic bell jangles again. I peek up long enough to see Jason's mother isn't holding a guitar. Here we are! The speech therapist pushes Jason's wheelchair up beside me. I saw you drive in, she says to his mother. He was so upset today that we stopped early. Mom slides her elbow over in a, here's your chance, Catherine, nudge. Hi, Jason, she says. How are you today? His head stays bowed. His chin is almost touching his chest. Mom's question hangs in the air. Maybe Jason is answering in his head. Maybe he's saying, I'm fine, thank you. Or maybe something like, well, I've been better. Or maybe he's screaming, I'm in this wheelchair, you idiot. How do you suppose I am? Whatever it is he's thinking, his silence stings me.